Hello everyone and welcome to week 3 of Zero to Squat. And so today we're going to be doing a couple of new things just like we did last week. There'll be a couple of familiar things as well. And I'd like to bring it up at this point is that if anybody is having problems getting through everything in just 1 week or feel like they aren't quite ready to progress into some of the things that we start to do, by all means consider taking an extra week until you do feel confident. Feel free to try the exercises as well and just see if you might be ready to make that switch, but there is no reason or no rush that you have to go through it necessarily 1 week at a time, just like we're doing this. Okay, so the first one that we're going to go to is back down to the ground or our version of the ground so that we can work on our initial core control exercise. So in this position, what we're going to do is the same core contraction that we've already been working with. So it's that pulling up of the tailbone, down of the rib cage, getting that even pressure across the front. And what we're going to do this time is we're going to add just a little bit of a movement. It's going to be a heel out to touch the floor. And this can be a sliding motion if you're not comfortable with the actual lifting and bringing out. And then we're going to alternate, and we're just going to tap out and tap back in, trying to maintain this even pressure throughout the repetitions. If at some point you feel like you're losing control during the movement, come back to your middle, set everything again, and then just restart. You'll find that after a little bit of practice, you'll be able to do multiple taps per contraction through the core, but you may start out needing to reset quite often, and that's okay. And then we're just going to stay down here and work on our bridge. So this is going to be a position with the heels relatively close to the hips, somewhat vertical line through the shins there, and with our knees as wide as our hips, so nice and parallel, not knocking together, not splayed apart. And once we've got this position, we're going to use our same core contraction, so that tailbone up, ribs down, nice and gentle, just to get that pressure through here. And then we're going to push through our heels to lift the hips up towards the ceiling, trying to get as close to that clean line through the body here as you can. Remembering though that everybody's going to do this to their own height, and there's nothing wrong with going half or 2/3 or 3/4 or any fraction in between. Just like that. Now, the last exercise that we're going to do today is going to be getting away from the standing exercise. If you find that you really enjoyed doing the 4-corner standing for getting a sense of your balance and your position, by all means it can continue to be done, but now we're going to add this hip abduction or leg lifting exercise instead. So here I can conveniently put myself up against a wall. That's not necessary, but it does help some people to feel the movement. So we're going to come down onto our side like so, and I'm going to have my top leg out nice and straight. The bottom leg I'm going to keep bent for a little bit of balance. It makes it feel like we're a little bit more stable front to back. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to point the toes of my top leg forward, and I'm going to just lift that leg up into the air like so. A couple of things that we're wanting to avoid with this is we're trying to avoid coming forward because that'll change quite a bit of the muscle that we're using. And we don't want to have the toes pointed up towards the ceiling because again, that'll change the muscles that we're using. If anything, we want the toes pointed forward or maybe even a little bit down towards the floor, and we want that leg to stay in line with our body. How high you go here is really not the most important thing. What we want to do is we want to make sure that we feel the majority of the work happening somewhere around the side and the back of our hip here, right in these muscles, and maybe a little bit up in the side of your core and your flank as well as it tries to stabilize. And so we're just going to bring this up and down nice and smooth. We're not really looking for holds for this one, just up and down. Okay, so things get a little bit quicker now to make the changes. Now that we have some of the foundation and some of the basics understood, now we're just progressing or changing 1 or 2 things at a time. And so this should be able to become quite a nice little routine for those who have the time to put into it. As always, if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them below or get in touch with our office. We'd be more than happy to answer any questions that anybody has. Thank you very much for watching.